Tom Clancy's The Division has been out for a while now. Here are my final thoughts on the game and my decision on when or whether we should do a Let's Play of it, because it's now time to wrap up this tea break. So my thoughts on the game can be split into two separate categories. One part is about the solo gameplay, the other is about the online. So let's start off with something very simple, and that is loot. This is a very loot-driven game. Most of what you do is driven by the end goal of getting a piece of loot. The loot itself is very average, it's nothing spectacular, it's just your basic guns, you've also got some armour. One thing I did like about the loot is the cosmetic items and the vanity items, the clothes that you wear. I got really into this. I collected a whole slew of items and I managed to piece together a whole outfit of various pieces. I had a white turtleneck with some blue jeans, a blue jacket, some normal shoes, and I had a hat which had a blue top and a white rim, which sort of complemented the white turtleneck and a whole other blue. So I just think the general aesthetic of my character was great, and I just loved it. And I just absolutely adored Agent JD. It was fantastic. I loved it. And that's where I think the loot system shines, with the customization. You've got some elements of attaching some different attachments onto your weapons. For example, I had a marksman rifle and I managed to get a sight which I put on, and I enjoyed that weapon very much. And there was also some colour skins for the different weapons as well. I only managed to find two, which was a brown colour and an electric pink, which I really loved. I put it on my little SMG, so when I'm walking around, all you can see on my back is this bright electric pink SMG. And it's just fantastic. You know, the whole outfit and the whole aesthetic of my character I adored. Like I said before, it's fantastic. I loved it, and I'm really going to miss my character. And that is another point in this game that shines, the customization. There is a certain thing in the game called the base of operations. This is something where you find and you have to upgrade through collection of different things and different people. And this is something that surprised me. There is a lot of things to do with this base in terms of customization. Like I said, when you collect things, you can upgrade it. I believe you can upgrade each wing 10 times, so that's a total of 30 upgrades you can collect, plus there's little collection items which you can see inside the base, plus the characters you rescue also go back to the base. And this is something I really loved. As you progress through the story, the base gets more clean, it's more whitewashed instead of grey, and it's just beautiful, and I loved it. And this is something I really liked about the game. I feel the story itself is about your base of operations and the setting of New York. For example, there's a few times where I've actually gone out into New York where I've encountered people that wanted help, where you give them a med kit or water, and they give you one of the cosmetic items, which, like I said, is something I liked. That's how I got my outfit from doing this. And I also found times where there's citizens still in their homes, where they're shouting out the window, asking if I'm alone. Are you down there by yourself? Asking if I want a drink. It's just little things that will sort of add together that help me actually feel connected to my character, because I think that is another good thing about this game. I actually feel like my character is a real character, whereas something, for example, as Skyrim, character doesn't really feel like a real person. But whereas this, I'm actually connected with my character through the customization and the story elements of people around New York. There's actually a memory I've got about this where I was exploring, where I actually came across this locked chest, which was surrounded by a wall. So I had to try and find a way inside the wall. So I went around one way, found that I couldn't get in there because there was nothing there to climb up onto. Went round the other way, found a way up onto a wall. I climbed up the wall, jumped over the wall, killed a few enemies, jumped up on top of another bit of wall, and then I came to a bit where I could jump down. However, when I first found this, I couldn't jump down. There was no prompt to just simply jump. So what I had to do is crouch against the wall and then use the cover system where you automatically move to the next cover, which I did by jumping down to the bottom. However, when I recorded this, in this example you're watching now, I actually got the prompt, so I jumped down and I managed to get the loot. And I just thought that sense of exploration is something I really love about the game. Another part as well was when I went back into Madison Square Garden, one of the locations. Coming out of one of the missions, you have to abseil down an elevator shaft, and this just seemed like it was so great. Like, I'm actually exploring an abandoned New York, and it's just fantastic, and I loved it. And it all adds to the sense of connection to my character. Something that I'm hoping the game later does as well is, because there's so many dogs around, I'm hoping there's a mission where you can at least get a dog that at least walks around your base of operations. I know walking around with you is probably something that won't happen, but at least if it's walking around the base, that'll be quite fun to do as well. And just finally, sidestepping onto another point about the whole game as well, is the sounds. This game has amazing sounds. One in particular that I really enjoyed was the tapping of the keyboard. It's just, it is absolutely fantastic. It makes your ears happy. But that's just a little thing about the game which I think is just great.
Need lymphatic tissue samples from infected and post-infection patients.
That was a lot of praise about the game. Now this is where my love of the game starts to dwindle. I'm going to talk about the online now. So I did a few videos where I did some co-op with some members of the community, and this is more my style, doing a bit of co-op. It was quite fun, and we were enjoying it until we came across the PvP elements. And this is where things started to go bad because we kept dying. This is probably because we were bad ourselves at the game, but it was just something that was killing me inside. For the example you're watching right now, I decided to go solo just to show off a few bits and bobs I wanted to show. And I feel like if you try to do the Dark Zone solo, it punishes you immensely. The AI is incredibly hard, even with the co-op, it's still incredibly hard. When I managed to find some, because there's not a lot around to be honest, when I did find some, I spent ages just trying to kill them. In the example you're watching right now, I did manage to kill 3 guys after 1 death, and I did have some help with this. I managed to find some blue loot. Now I have had many loot objects of the blue colour before, but I've never managed to extract any, because I always get killed by bad people. But I walked off hoping that this would be my first extraction of blue loot. So when I approached the extraction site, I decided to hide so that no one could kill me and steal my loot. I did see a shady character walking around, but he did not manage to find me, so hopefully if he was trying to steal my loot, he couldn't. And for the first time of the entire beta weekend, the extraction came in, I ran to the extraction point, I managed to extract my loot with no problems. However, just after this, AI spawned in and killed me, but my loot was extracted and safe. Now thankfully, the shady character I saw earlier decided to revive me, and I felt that was really nice. I've just got something extracted, I've met a good fellow that's just revived me. I'll decide to help him because he just called for an extraction himself. So because I was on a high, I decided to stick around, and I noticed there was a character sort of creeping up to the extraction point. So I sort of hid behind him so he couldn't see me, just keeping a close eye on him, just in case he decided to shoot on my random friend while he was doing his extraction. The extraction was moments away and nobody had opened fire. The extraction arrived, the shady character I was watching jumped out from his cover and went to extract his item. And then something terrible happened. The friend that I had just made, that I was helping to extract his loot, didn't have any loot. I didn't even realise at the time. He decided to start firing on the shady character I was watching. Now this is the point I didn't like about the game. When you spend forever trying to kill very hard AI just to get that one piece of loot, to get to the last hurdle, only to have someone else kill you. So because this has happened to me the whole weekend, I decided enough is enough. I turned on the person I was protecting and helping the shady character who was actually just trying to extract his hard-earned loot. So I managed to knock down my friend and then finally delivered the final blow with a nice, well-placed melee attack. And this felt like a massive victory for me, because this had happened before to me on my whole weekend playing the beta. By finally killing this bad man, it felt like a massive stuff it up your jumper to everybody who had ever wronged me in the past 2 days. So me and the shady guy that turned out to be just a helpless guy trying to extract his loot sort of had a little nod, and then we went our separate ways. Me walking away feeling very proud, because I finally managed to stand up to one of these people that had been bugging me the whole weekend. But that's when it dawned on me. This is a world full of bad people. It's very rare when you find people that want to work together and not turn on each other. I know that is one of the points of PvP areas, so perhaps this is just because PvP is not for me. I know what you've seen today is a bad example. This was actually the best match I ever played, but every other match I played, I got shot right before I tried to extract my loot after spending hours and hours trying to get some loot by killing hard AI. But perhaps the online is not bad, perhaps it's just not for me. And now it boils down to the last question we have to ask in this tea break before we wrap it up. Which category will we put Tom Clancy's The Division in terms of Let's Playing? I have 4 different categories varying from Let's Playing it now, soon, later, or never at all. So which category is Tom Clancy's The Division? The online is terrible. It absolutely kills me. It really makes me depressed and anxious, and I don't like that at all. The single player is beautiful. If this was just a single player game, it would have such a different result at the end of the day. But because of the online, I've decided that, at least for now, I will not be doing a Let's Play of Tom Clancy's The Division. However, I did really enjoy doing this tea break episode. I like doing these new games and seeing if we like them to do Let's Plays in the future. And I found out I really enjoy playing with you guys. So, although we won't be doing a Let's Play of Tom Clancy's The Division, we will be doing more community events in the future. Hopefully in the very near future. This game has also single-handedly driven my desire to find a bubble hat. And I'll be damned if I can find one this time of the year. But that is that cup of tea done. This tea break is now over. It's time to go back to our normal adventures with Harvest Moon Back to Nature, Assassin's Creed Revelations, and Dark Cloud. So until the next time we meet, farewell.